so many of us live our lives on the surface level. And so we attach ourselves to people, places, things, ideas. We're searching for all of these things, but we're searching outside of ourselves. And we're trying to make our homes in other people or in other ideas or whatever. And we're not willing to sit with ourselves, to go within, to connect with ourselves. I mean, we can't connect with other people, and we sure as fuck can't connect with ourselves. We avoid that like the plague.
Well, because just piggybacking off last week, people can't sit still with their thoughts. So how do you connect to yourself when you can't even think? You can't even stop yourself to sit with yourself for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's pretty hard to connect to like your truth. Welcome to my so-called healing podcast.
Shit.
I'm Brooke, this is Anna, and we are glad you're here.
We are.
If I get over this table and the noise that it's making, I feel like I have that trichotillomania or whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, when it's like you hear the
it's
inside
like
of the ear.
making me like, God, crazy.
I only know about that from Grey's Anatomy. Because I'm basically a doctor.
I literally made that up, but I think it's right.
It's a real thing.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the word.
I mean,
it's a real thing.
like it's like I'm hearing like
you hear
everything
the scratching
from the,
in your head or something.
Well, and like the movement on the table, it's making me feel like I'm going insane, which
feels right.
Is a possibility.
Totally feels right.
It's a possibility. So last week we went over some questions, which we liked to do because we thought it was fun. Yeah. So I think Anna's come up with a very good plan to end each episode with said questions to each other. So we'll be doing that until you guys say that you hate it. Yeah. That's what we'll be doing.
That way you can, get to know us. And
yeah, I think it's a good idea. Plus it's kind of fun because I like these questions.
Yeah.
And we revisited a whole lot of crap last week. I don't even know what we talked about, but it was like all over the map.
All over.
But we're discussing this week, I guess, attachment, detachment, loneliness, isolating, connection, and how people are afraid of connecting again after COVID, and just basically all of the mental health stuff that's just starting to poke through the surface from the pandemic. So I think it's an interesting time to be doing growth work emotionally.
Right.
Mainly because I feel like COVID thrusted people into being forced to work on themselves because you're locked in a house with your family. It's like nuts.
Yeah, you're either locked in a house with your family, or if you live alone, you're locked in your house by yourself. You have no choice but to deal with yourself.
I almost contemplated what's worse, being here with my family or being alone for months on end.
I'll tell you. Like, I was...
it's done a world of wonder for you. Well, I mean, my God, you have so many problems being alone. You can't stand. You're always going and doing and seeing and connecting and hanging out.
Yeah, I'm just such a social butterfly.
I mean, it's just uncanny.
It's a really hard time for me. I don't know. There's something about when someone tells you can't do something, it makes you want to do it. But
that's not true. Anna is very much, you have to reverse psychology here for every single thing that she's doing in her entire existence. Like if she's like, I don't know if I should do that. The answer is not don't do it because she'll do it. The answer is to say, yeah, I agree. Don't do it. Just give her permission to do what she's asking, and then she does what you think is the correct thing to do.
It's almost like you know me or something.
I mean, maybe.
Crazy.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
It's funny how we were just talking about before I hit record that, like how attachment and connection are two different things, but people mistake them for being one and the same.
Right.
And they're not. Like attachment is very much codependent and like you're filling a void, so you're attached to someone, attracted to someone, and grabbing onto them because of the void that you need to be filled, whereas connection is being full and like
they add
value to your life. So I think it's interesting how many people, or the question that I have from just us talking earlier is like how many people realize that they are just attached to people and not actually connected?
I think probably slim to none. Very few people. Because I think a lot of people lack self-awareness. And that requires self-awareness to know that.
True. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, like, if you went through everything that we've all gone through the last 3 years, I'm not going to bring it up really, but like, and you're moving through the world now and you feel, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people feel adrift is the word that comes to mind, like kind of lost.
Yeah.
Not like it, and I mean like not attached or tethered to something, like even their goals feel like, whatever.
Yeah. No, I feel like adrift is a good word. Like something's off. Like you're just, I don't know.
Untethered.
Untethered.
I'm sure that's the name of a book. I think it is. I feel like it's a famous book.
I think it is too.
But that's a word that would describe it. I think that people, women in particular, the loneliness that is, it's almost like palpable, really. Like I did a moon circle, as I brought up last week. But it's just like never ceases to amaze me the way that women, like, when the moon circle, when we're done with our circle, like how shocked they are that people are struggling with like the same things. And again, we all have the same problems. We just deal with them very differently. So when you think like no one's going to understand, no one's going to know, they don't know what this is like, chances are they do. Either they are going through it simultaneously or they've been through it,
right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how people think that we're all so unique.
Mm-hmm. Or, yeah, we're the only ones. It's only us. It's only happening to us.
Yeah.
We're the only ones who are dealing with it, going through it, whatever.
Self-centered thinking. I mean, that's just how we,
ego,
right? That's
yeah,
your life.
100% your ego.
To survive, you gotta think of number one, me. Right. Surviving. I'm biologically surviving.
Are we thriving or are we surviving?
Biologically, I think I'm thriving. Surviving, I don't know. After that flu kicked my ass, I feel like biologically my white blood cell, my immune system is like, we are surviving.
You got this.
But like, I feel like people mistake the connection too with intimacy. That's like another, like, so if it's attachment and connection, and then again connection with intimacy, and obviously you need connection to be able to be intimate with people, but intimacy isn't just a form of like sexual intimacy. It's like emotional intimacy, which to me is the harder of the two.
Right.
Super easy to have sex with people, very difficult to emotionally connect and give like your intimate, like real raw
all
stuff.
Of it? Yeah. No, for sure.
I think that, what do you think? You said you thought that people needed a place to connect. People needed space to connect, which I agree with, of course. Do you think that there's power still in virtual places to connect with people?
I think to a degree, yes. However, I think now it needs to be more focused on in-person stuff because that's what's been lacking for so long. And like, I mean, we've talked about it a million times, but like our phones, like we're technically more connected than ever to anyone and anything, but we've never been more disconnected.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, there's only so much I think you can do, I don't know, virtually. But at the same point, I think it's, I don't know, how much you're willing to connect, how much you're willing to be vulnerable and put yourself out there.
Yeah, I think that for sure in-person things, but also because I do believe that there is power in online spaces for empowering yourself to like build and flex your vulnerability muscle on a virtual platform. I mean, obviously that's my job, so I believe that it works. But I do think there is like a powerful, it's like a quiet kind of powerful, but like you leave doing something with a group of people, whether it's like a yoga class or a meditation class or whatever, you leave feeling energized. Like it's almost like fulfilled as opposed to just like complete, maybe.
Yeah. No, I think that's accurate. I think it is definitely like a physical feeling.
Mm-hmm. Always. Yeah.
I mean, if it's obviously a healthy environment.
Well, I mean, so like, I get like, do you think that there's people who like walk around and like really don't know themselves?
Yeah. Hello.
And then they like project and pretend. Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people get on these kicks, like using words like connection, using words like intimacy or vulnerability or raw is a big one. Mm-hmm. And they're like just studying it and they don't
embody it.
Well, live it. Yeah, they don't practice the principles of the stuff that they're studying in their daily grinds. Like, It's like, oh, yeah, I know about that. You really need to connect with your chakras. Like, I mean.
Right. But at the end of the day, you can only take someone as deep as you've gone yourself. So, like, I don't know. I feel like people eventually pick up on that, especially in, like, the healing space. If it is, like, a coach or, you know, like someone like that who's putting it out there that they have all the answers, I think people can typically read through that.
You think?
At least at some point. Maybe not right away.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can only, I don't know, force that, fake that for so long. Because I think connection and healing and all of that stuff is so, without, I mean, using all of the words, but it is so intimate and you can't, it's not something that you can, I don't know, fake.
I don't know about that. You know why? I'll tell you why. And this is just playing devil's advocate to like spark a discussion, but because people are manipulative. And if somebody 100%. Has something that you want, you're going to, and also our brains, we talked about this the other day, like our brains go into these modes where it's like, I'm not going to see it. I'm not paying attention to it. I'm not even thinking it, like denial, put the veil over your eyes. But like, if someone doesn't want to see the truth, they're not going to see it, which allows someone who is faking, super manipulative to be able to continue on. And that I feel like is where you find like the rift between people who are afraid to connect and be vulnerable because they've been played. I don't want to say played, but they've allowed themselves to be snowed by words and things that people were saying that were not real.
And authentic, yeah. Yeah.
But seemed authentic.
Right.
And this is not the person who doesn't see the red flag's fault. This is, just the way it is.
Right.
But that keeps people, I think, from really looking at connection wholly and like being able to like hold space for other people, like truly connecting with someone and not feeling like, oh, I have to respond to what they just said. I have to like listening to respond as opposed to just listening to hear what the person's saying.
Well, I think that's a massive problem just in general. I feel like the majority of people listen to respond.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because, again, it comes back to it's kind of like the ego, the selfish. Like it's, I don't know.
Well, the defense, your pride gets in the way and you're going to get, most people do that on an attack. Mm-hmm. They feel attacked or they perceive that someone's attacking them. And insecure people will think that all the time.
Right.
So they're reacting all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that there's something so intimate in listening and not just listening, and sitting there to like be a container to like let that person get that stuff out. And like, I appreciate it when people allow me to do that without giving feedback on what I've said.
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of the times the things that people say first and foremost are cliche and don't do anything. And when it comes to like the really hard stuff, there's nothing to say. There is no right thing to say. And it's just, like you said, for someone to hold space for you to just be and say what you need to say, or to not say anything, that is, I don't know. There's no word for how impactful that is.
Yeah, I mean, nobody does it, so.
No. Literally, like...
It's so uncomfortable for people to do that.
That's the thing. It's uncomfortable, and as we've discussed a million times, like, we are creatures of comfort. We avoid anything that even remotely looks like it could be uncomfortable. So, yeah, to sit in someone else's pain with them and to not do anything or say anything is fucking uncomfortable. But that's what people need. Because your words aren't going to do shit. At the end of the day, that person still has to go through it.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some things that could be said, but for the most part, sitting and just showing up and washing dishes and doing things, being in a room with someone who's suffering is always a good way to run your connections with your friends and people you love. I think it's interesting when you talk about, like, because I'm thinking like transparency and like friendships and just being transparent in general, and how, you know, do you often like sit in a room full of people and don't, like, you feel left out, or you feel like you, like they don't see you, and I don't know, like, feel like you're invisible, you're not connected there, like, if not now, have you ever?
I was going to say, I don't often sit in a room full of people, so.
I mean, let's say, like, you were in a room full of, like, 10, 15, I don't know, 5 girlfriends, and, like, you sit there and you're like, I don't fit in here, they don't like me, like, the overthinking and the anxious thoughts and, like, that kind of stuff, like, what am I even doing here? They didn't even do that, like, I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure in the past I have, but I think in the last couple of years especially, I've been very picky about the people that I spend my time with. And so anybody that's in my circle isn't like that. Like, I don't feel that way with them. But I am sure that I've definitely felt that in the past. I think that's a normal thing to feel.
Yeah, no. Well, especially as you're emotionally evolving, growing, maturing from like teenage, into adulthood, it's very common. But I think that what would it be like if people were actually transparent and like actually didn't bullshit people? It would save so much wasted fucking time.
Yeah, time, energy, pain.
Think about that. It would be like, you'd have all this free time.
Right?
So much more time for activities.
All the activities. No, I mean, I think, I don't know, people they don't even think about it. They just, I don't know, lie and not even think about it.
Yeah, and you lie to protect. Do you think people lie to protect the relationship themselves, or protect the other person from being hurt? Because I feel like it's self-seeking. Like, you're lying because you like what's happening here.
I think it depends on the situation, but if you unravel it all the way, it does ultimately, I think, lead back to you. Because even if you say, I'm lying to protect this person, at the end of the day, you're, like, maybe that's what you're telling yourself, or maybe that's what you really think, but you're lying to protect yourself from losing that relationship with that person, or from confrontation or causing a rift.
Yeah, I think losing the person probably more so.
But I think the problem and the reason why we lie so easily is because we lie to ourselves all the fucking time. Like, case in point, we say, I'm not going to tell them the truth because I'm trying to protect them. Mm-hmm. And we are lying to ourselves about what really is at the root of it because, again, no one wants to get to the root of the problem because that's not comfortable. You have to face your own shit.
Well, yeah, and sometimes that's that you are beyond this relationship and it's time to bounce. Like, whether it's an intimate, like, romantic relationship or like a familial one, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Because I think there's this concept of like, and I think that there's a lot of confusion around outgrowing friendships. Like, I think it's perfectly acceptable to evolve beyond people, and they served a purpose in your life. It doesn't make them any less relevant. There's no drama in the disengagement. It's just like moving forward, and then allowing yourself to connect with new people in a way where you feel more connected, more whole, I guess, but like able to be more of yourself.
Yeah, and that fit with the, like your current life situation, whatever's happening in your life.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. Because my daughter's going to college, so we've been having a lot of these like conversations the last week, which I want to share, but I'm not going to because she'll get pissed. But like, there is so much thought that goes into things today that like I did not like when I was going to college. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go to college. I get shit-faced every day. I'm smoking weed.
Priorities,
like, I'm going to maybe go to school. Maybe I'll go to class.
Maybe I'll do a class or two. We'll see.
But, like, I was, like, excited for the party, and I feel like the way that the kids are today, from my understanding and just talking to my daughter's friends, they all are focusing on the ending of their academic career in primary school, high school, and, like, this disillusion of these friendships. Like, they have to like dissolve these friendships now because in the fall they're going to be in college. And I did have a discussion with Gabriella. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It's January.
Right.
You're not even leaving until the end of August. This makes no sense.
Well, and you're going to be home for breaks and holidays and summer and,
Right.
And again, with our phones and social media the way it is, you can still stay to a degree connected if you want to.
Well, right. I mean, here, we're in Michigan. I went to Western Michigan. I had friends at State. I had friends at U of M. I had friends at Central. Like, we would, like, drive to other schools and, like, stay a night and then come home. Like, I mean, you guys are not, this is not farewell forever.
Right.
But it, like, spawned this thought process of, like, wow, like, these kids are, like, sabotaging their connections to the kids they've grown up with. And it's so mind-blowing to me because I still have 3 best friends who I grew up with. Like, my daughter actually said, you don't talk to anyone from high school. I'm like, what are you talking about? I rattled off 3 of my friends' names, and I'm like, I just talked to her yesterday. It's one's birthday, the 28th of January. We're getting together for dinner, the 4 of us. Like, what are you talking about? I don't talk to these people. And she's like, well, I didn't. I'm like, Gabriella, the kids that I grew up with, okay, the people I grew up with, I feel, know me on a level. They've watched me evolve from my childhood to where I am now. And if they're still in my life, they've evolved clearly also. Right. But, like, there's nobody who knows you like the people who grew up with you. Like, they know you when you don't even know yourself. I've had friends I grew up with that will say something like, well, you know how you are, like, bop, 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 whatever it may be. And I'm like, no, but you're right.
Well, I kind of feel like that. I mean, like with us, obviously we didn't grow up together, but I feel like you know me.
Well, yeah, but different because I think our relationship started out differently.
But I feel like even at that, like there's other friendships where I feel like people know me.
But not like the way, so here, it's not worth, my point is going back to the concept of throwing away
Correct.
These friendships that like are like here, my mom is 75. She still has 3 best friends from second grade, like that she talks to regular. Not, I guess kids don't understand adult. Like, I'm like, I don't need to talk to Jen every day to like be close friends with Jen. Like, she's got kids, I've got kids, we're married, we don't live in the same city, like whatever. But like, there is this evolution of growing together, but not necessarily growing together.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think, like, yes, you and I know each other. And yes, there are people who I've met in the last decade who, like, I'm super close with. But it's just, my point is, there are people who know you for you even before you became you,
Yeah.
Gabby's really fixated on this idea of, like, getting to know herself, which I think is phenomenal because she definitely needs to get to know herself. But I like, you don't have to get rid of one thing to be able to grow and do this other thing is my point, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's the definition of connection. For me, that's how I'm like, how this all in my head is worked out. Like, we have people that we maybe grow apart from, but we're still connected to them. There's still real, authentic connection, and maybe we've moved beyond them. But like when we see each other, like it's hey, bop, 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 and then you go on to this next evolution phase of your life, and like those people can respect that you're evolving and growing, and they want what's best for you. Now, someone who's just attached to you is going to try and drag you back with them.
Yeah, it's the whole, what is it, crabs in a bucket situation?
Yeah. Precisely. Puppies in a basket, whatever. Yeah. So, crabs in a bucket.
That's what it is. That's literally what it is.
Okay, Ohio. Like,
What does Ohio have to do with that?
Like-
Ohio doesn't fucking have crabs.
Well, neither does Michigan.
Yeah, but that's literally a thing. It's like a known.
Yeah. Well, puppies in a basket, really. Like,
But oh yeah, I guess so. It's cuter than crabs, but I don't know. That's where my head went.
like very not happy picturing the crabs. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but
go with puppies.
okay.
I'm going with puppies.
Fine. Okay, puppies it is.
So, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, maybe this probably did not make sense. I'm like incoherent. I'm tired. I had my other daughter's birthday, so I do this thing celebrating, setting up the decorations
It's a
and
whole thing.
all the shit that
It's
they wake
great,
up to. Like, I
actually.
don't sleep, so I'm like starting to get like cracked out thinking.
No, I think I followed you. Yeah.
Like, I just feel like connection, but that's the stuff that we need, and that's the stuff we need more of. And I can look back on my life pre-cell phone, pre-internet. Like, the connections I feel like I have with some people are so embedded in part of who I am, And like, same with you, but like kids today, young women, adults, are so lost and have no connection since COVID because they don't know how to connect, because they feel like, if I'm working on myself, I can't connect with so-and-so because I'm working on myself. And they're not, good for me. And the youth loves to throw the word toxic out and like narcissist and like buzzwordy stuff. But like, that is where there's a disconnect. Like, people, I think, struggle to know what real connection is.
Well, I think, yes, COVID, but I feel like you kind of hit the point too when you said pre-cell phones, pre-internet. Like, I really think that plays a big role in our lack of ability to connect.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that has totally shifted our definition of connection and our idea of it, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, obviously, like, kids these days growing up, that's all they know. I mean,
But they are so disconnected. Like, I would ask something and Gabby would be like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, what? Why do you not know that? Like, I knew so much about my friends in high school. Like, too much about my friends.
Memorized.
Too much about their boyfriends.
All the things.
Leaning left, crooked, whatever, uncircumcised. Like, I didn't need to. Kids today don't share this information with one another.
Yeah.
They look to the internet instead of looking to their peers for moving
Their
through.
friends and which is sad.
It is sad. And it makes me feel sad. And it makes me feel like it's even more important to continue doing work that draws people closer together, connecting them. Like weaving a little quilt.
Sure.
of connection.
Quilt of connection. Okay. Maybe that's what we should name our episode.
The quilt of connection. This is the trust circle. The quilt goes over it, and if you're outside of it, you're on the outside.
Yeah. Wednesdays we were pink. Can't say
Cut. Yeah, I think that it's just interesting, the attachment. Like when I'm feeling lonely, I think, because I don't often feel lonely. Truly, I don't often feel lonely, which is a good thing because I've worked very hard to like enjoy my own company. But when I do feel lonely, that is my first like little ticker, like, okay, there's an attachment happening here that's not maybe the healthiest for me, or like, why am I so attached to this person, idea, thought, whatever? Because it draws out this insecurity in me. So for me, attachment, people think I don't think it's positive. Like I think that attaching yourself to people, places, and things is actually like pretty dangerous. And it also allows you to live in a world of like falsehood.
Well, yeah, surface level. And you attach yourself to people, places, things, ideas, because you think that they can give you whatever it is you're looking for. When in actuality, you need to go within.
Wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you go, there you are.
If you don't go within, you go without. Like all of those are cliches for a reason, but it's true. Like I just did on Insight Timer, I just did a 10-day course. I think it was called Surface to Soul. I think I sent you a couple recordings because it was so freaking good. But that's the concept of the whole thing, was like so many of us live our lives on the surface level. And so we attach ourselves to people, places, things, ideas. We're searching for all of these things, but we're searching outside of ourselves. And we're trying to make our homes in other people or in other ideas or whatever. And we're not willing to sit with ourselves, to go within, to connect with ourselves. I mean, we can't connect with other people, and we sure as fuck can't connect with ourselves. We avoid that like the plague.
Well, because just piggybacking off last week, people can't sit still with their thoughts. So how do you connect to yourself when you can't even think? You can't even stop yourself to sit with yourself for 5 minutes. It's pretty hard to connect to like your truth.
Yeah.
When you can't sit still with yourself.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Deep. So I guess the question is, I'll ask of the audience is, do you struggle connecting, or do you find that you're more attached to the people in your life, or are you actually connected? That's a good question, I think, to think on.
Yeah, I think it's a good. Or what's your definition of attachment, too?
You're adding on to it.
Oh, sorry. I have to overcomplicate everything. Duh. You know me, remember? Come on.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said now. But yeah, so
do you think there's like your relationships are connection or your attachment, right? That's what you said.
Yeah. So, okay, grab the cards. We'll ask a question, and then join the Facebook group. If you live in the southeastern Michigan area, pay attention to social media, because there's going to be a little announcement for an in-person workshop coming up.
Yeah, and also we'll actually do a live this week. I totally got called out on that too. By somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I went to go listen to the live and it didn't happen." I was like, "Yeah."
But they didn't get a notification from the social media.
Yes, but we said that we were going to do the live on the episode. And,
that's true. I don't remember what I was doing. My kids didn't have school. I know that much, and whenever
true.
that happens, I lose sight of like
shit show.
Crap, they don't have school, so my time is off. So, anyways, all right. Oh my God, my ears!
I can't show.
How are we doing this? Just like picking one?
Pick a card and a card. You pick one, I'll pick one.
Nope. Okay. Oh, I asked this one last week. That's the problem. 3 of them. We already answered these.
I know some of these are probably because we shuffled them.
You think? So it went back to the ones we've used? Okay, go ahead.
I haven't picked one.
Next week, we're going to need to pick the card before we start the
Right.
episode.
I think you're right. Also, some of these I already know your answer to, so that's fine. I'm skipping them. And also, some of these are upside down.
Oh, okay, I got one. Just this is a lighter one, so it's not deep. Sorry.
It's okay.
If my life was a movie right now, what would be the title?
Oh, God. Welcome to the shit show.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, welcome to the shit show's accurate.
I mean, fair. How would you rate your life, and what could you do to improve it?
Of course. How would I rate my life and what would I do to improve it? I would like 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Yeah.
I think my life's like a 7.5, a solid 7.5.
Okay.
Maybe 8. My life's pretty good today. I really don't have much to complain about. Trust me, I've been in a place where it's been a flat, big fat 0. So,
What could you do to improve it?
I think just continue to evolve and connect with the people that I care about most, in a way that works for everyone and not just me.
I think that's fair. I think that's actually a very important piece that we don't think about often.
Yeah, I think to me, your life is the way that it is because of the people that are in it and the relationships that you have. I could maybe work on my finances a little bit more, saving money, not spending money.
You and me both. What's the fun in that, though, man?
I know, when my remodel's
It's a future
over,
you problem.
You're right. Let's look at that in the future, not today. Yeah, but I think it's definitely 7, definitely 8, and definitely connecting more in a way that is a way that other people connect, so they feel the connection too.
2-way street. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, we'll see you next week. Keep your eyes on the social media and keep it real.
Keep it real.
Hey. We read these last week. Bye.